Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Moy Style podcast. Today I'm in Orange, California. So as you can see in the background, one of the the owner actually allowed me to use this studio. So I'm thankful for that. Today I have Daniel Cope. He's a catcher for the Colorado Rockies. He's currently in Double A, and today's topic I really want to dive in and kind of see basically what it's like to go through the minor league, especially somebody that's going through it right now, and kind of see how it all works out. So, Danny, I appreciate you for being out today, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I know you got a lot of stuff going on right now. You've been working out and getting ready for it right now in the off season. So, how's everything going right now?
So far, so good. I've been working out at this facility, A2D, for the last couple years. This is where I come train out in the off season usually. And then I went to Cal State Fullerton, which is like right down the street, so it's nice getting on the field there and stuff too. But yeah, as of right now, just kind of middle of my training as far as the off season goes, and just getting ready for spring training.
Right.
So.
And I know you've been doing some lessons through here.
Yeah, I've been doing lessons, mostly catching lessons, but yeah, I have a few clients that I've been working with, just kind of in the Orange County area.
Right. No, that's pretty awesome, especially somebody that's actually going through right now. I think the kids would definitely be excited about that. Now, let me ask you this: so, what year did you get drafted? So you said you went through college, and what year did you get drafted?
I was drafted in 2019.
Were you a junior or
Junior? Yes.
junior?
Yeah.
Okay. So, how much money did you sign for? What was your signing bonus?
I signed for 125,000.
125.
Yeah.
Okay. And you were how old were you again?
I was 21, but then I turned 22 like a few days right after the draft.
Okay. Okay. And
Yeah.
then they sent you where? First
I
year?
was sent to Boise, Idaho, which is rookie ball.
Rookie ball.
Yeah.
Okay. And you right now you said you're on Double A, right?
Yes.
Right. So let me ask you this, because I really want listeners to kind of know the grind that this guy's gotta go through. So how much were you making your first year?
I would say probably right around $600 every 2 weeks, maybe a little less.
Right.
So
Did
it
they
was
did
pretty
they
rough.
did they help you with housing? Stuff
Yeah,
like that?
luckily we got each guy had a host family, so that was nice. Where we had a family take us in, and then they gave us meals, and then so we didn't have to worry about too much as far as spending wise, but
Right.
still,
Yeah, and I'm sure it's still not enough.
yeah.
So then from rookie ball you went where?
So after rookie ball, that was my like short season, and then 2020 hit, COVID hit, and then that year got completely canceled, and then 2021 came back to spring training, and I went to High A in Spokane.
Okay.
So during 2021, I was in Spokane, Washington.
Did the pay get any better there or?
It was a little bit better, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was still like not enough. Like I want to say we got probably around like $800 every 2 weeks, and at that point we had to pay for our housing. So there was 4 of us in a 2-bedroom apartment, and then me and our other catcher, we stayed in the living room, and I slept on a cot bed, and the only thing that separated us was a couch.
That's crazy.
And we put all of our clothes and like all of our stuff pretty much like right in all the drawers in the kitchen and in like the pantry and stuff. So yeah, it was pretty rough living, but I don't know, looking back, like there's a lot of memories. So yeah.
Right, that's awesome. What about right now now that you're on Double A? What's the pay like?
It's a little better. We probably get like right around $1,000 every 2 weeks. But the nice thing this year is they actually paid for our housing.
Okay.
So we didn't have to worry about paying for an apartment. They gave us pretty much apartments right next to the field, and there's 4 of us in a 4-bedroom apartment. So we were right in Hartford, which was nice to be like that close to the stadium and everything. But
Yeah, no, that's a big help, especially being close to the field. So that's huge.
yeah.
Now, when it comes to when you go back, when do you go back to spring training?
Probably early February.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you go back, do you guys get paid at all, or you only get like meal meal money?
We'll get, like in minor league spring training, you'll get either like the hotel paid for. So like if you want to stay in the hotel, or you can get like an Airbnb or live off, like away from the field, and they would give you like a stipend, like a check. Usually it's right around like $1,200 for the month to help you pay for living, and then at the facility they would give us like 2 meals a day, so like breakfast and lunch usually. So we just have to get dinner, but
yeah. So once you start season, so what is like? Just kind of walk me through the daily routine. Like, if you're playing at home, so how would it work? Like, you guys take BP before the game. You have to, do
yeah,
your workouts and stuff like that. What do you do?
yeah. So usually we would play games at like 6:30 or 7 o'clock at night, and so I would get to the field right around like 1 o'clock every day,
Okay.
and depending on like who you are, like as a catcher, like usually the catchers are the guys that get there the earliest, just because I feel like we have like the most responsibility as far as like early work bullpens, and like we have to get our hitting in. Whether you're gonna lift that day or roll out, taking care of your body is important. So I would usually get there like right around 1, and then usually I'd just do my whole like warm up stuff, like roll out, all my stretches, and then from there usually we have like some sort of early work, whether that be catching or hitting. Usually it's pretty light, just because like the days get long and we play so many games, so they keep it just pretty light. And then we'll take BP, and then we'll go in after BP, and then we'll eat. They'll give us like a pregame meal, and then we'll play at like 6:30.
Well,
So
I'm kind of curious. So what's the pre-game meal like? Is it an
well,
actual meal or just kind of a couple snacks?
no, I mean originally like in Boise and in like Spokane, the pregame meals were just terrible. Like we were getting like frozen chicken patties that they would microwave with
Dang.
like rice that wasn't cooked all the way, and just it wasn't good. And like most guys would just make a PB&J and
Right.
not even eat that. But this year, like in Hartford, I feel like they took really good care of us as far as feeding us. Before the game, we would have like a chicken bowl or like a steak bowl, and and we had a bunch of like snacks as far as like how to make sandwiches and like fruits, vegetables just available. So I think there's a lot of options there, which is it's. I mean, which I would expect, like the higher level you go up, it's gonna get a little better. So
Right. That's no wonder why a lot of people want to make it to the big leagues. 'Cause,
exactly, yeah.
that's obviously the ultimate goal. But now, so after you guys take BP, so if you want some extra work, do you have time for that, or is it hard to get some extra work after BP?
Yeah, usually at home you'll have time for extra work, just because it's your own facilities, and you have a lot more time at home. But on the road, usually it's like we all take one bus to the field, and then there's only like we're only at our away side, so it's like there's only one cage we get to use, and it just gets a lot harder as far as like time management goes on the road. But
Right.
at home it's a lot easier.
So when you go on the roads, so how does it work? I mean, especially if if you play a home game and then you have to travel. So what time do you guys normally have to get to the park?
Well, usually what's nice is the schedule now is like every week is a 6-game series. So like we'll play the same team for 6 games during the week, and then we'll have Monday off.
Okay.
So usually we would travel on Mondays or early Tuesday mornings, depending on if the team we're playing is close. And then from like during the week we're in a hotel, and then the bus will take us at like usually 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock to the field.
Okay.
So
Okay. And then you say you play 6 games against the same team.
yeah,
6-game series. Okay. No, yeah, that's pretty good help, especially when you go on the road. So
exactly, yeah.
yeah. What about so when it comes to traveling? So what do you guys take? Well, let's go back to rookie ball. So how would you guys travel?
Yeah, rookie ball was brutal as far as the travel went, because I think we had 35 guys on our team. We would take one bus, and at that point the schedule was like we'd only play a team for 3 games, so we'd have
Right.
3-game series, so we would always be on the road every 3 days. And so we would take one bus, and then we were in Boise, Idaho. All the teams we played were in Oregon and Washington, like way out on the northeast, and so or northwest. And then we would take one bus, and you wouldn't have your own aisle. Like there would always be someone next to you. And I think our shortest bus ride was like 6 hours, and our longest was like 15.
Gosh.
So there was a
Yeah.
couple times where we went through the night and didn't get back home till like 10 a.m. and we had a game that day.
So
So
you
it
have
was
to
like
show up again at 1 in the morning. I mean, at 1
you
in
have
the
to. Well, usually we'll do
afternoon?
like a show and go. So you show up at 4 and get ready to play at 7. So, like I got a yoga mat for the bus. I would lay it down like underneath the seats, and I would try to sleep on that at least.
Right.
But there's always like someone's feet in your face, or because everyone's on the ground or on the seats, you know.
Right.
So
That's crazy.
that part of it was really tough. As far as traveling and just trying to sleep on a bus, but. Yeah, I mean it's gotten a lot better. The traveling and the accommodations, the higher levels that I've gone up. High A we took 2 buses. Double A we took 2 buses, and the buses were nice. And the travel, I think our farthest drive was like 8 hours, and everything else was right around like 3 or 4. So it wasn't too bad.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
what I was gonna ask you. What it was like now, since you're on Double A.
hmm
But yeah, no, that's that's crazy though.
Yeah, yeah,
Especially having to go that far and then play just pretty much you kind of just roll out and
exactly.
go out
Yeah,
there
I
and
think
play.
it's toughest for the starting pitcher too, because he's going out there on like 3 hours of sleep. He's all stiff from just being in a bus for the last 10 hours, and it's like,
Right.
how do you expect to play your best at that point? But
Yeah, that's a good point. What about well, for catchers, it's got to be pretty tough too, because I'm sure
Oh,
you
yeah.
got to catch bullpen, everything out.
yeah, I think the biggest thing is like being able to take care of your body, like knowing that you're gonna get beat up, from the everyday work, but at the same time, like you need to be able to like focus on your recovery and taking care of your body and just trying to get as much sleep as you can at night. And that's the biggest thing I feel like is if you're healthy. I mean, that's the biggest goal I feel like for me every season is just to be healthy, and then being on the field is just important playing, but it's super important just to take care of your body. So.
Right. Right. And do you have to catch every day, or is there a certain rotation where you're gonna catch tonight and then tomorrow somebody else will catch, or you kind of just go
Yeah.
back to back or day by day?
Well, it was nice last year. We had kind of a rotation, so I was like the backup guy, and so our catcher would catch 2 games, and then I would catch the 3rd game every week. So then I'd catch the 3rd and usually the 6th game of every series.
Okay.
And so we had a good rotation going where we kind of knew when I was going to play, when I wasn't going to play. And then, I mean, last year there was only 2 of us, so we would every day that we wouldn't catch, we were in the bullpen during the game catching, or we were the guy that was out there early catching pens. But even when you're not playing, it's still a very demanding job just because there's only 2 of you and there's like 15 pitchers. So it's...
And that's what I was gonna ask you. So do you have like another guy that catches only bullpen, or what? Because
Not like last year we didn't, at least for maybe a week or 2 weeks. We had a guy where he would like a bullpen catcher, but normally I think most teams do have one, but I don't know why we didn't have one last year.
okay.
So
That, and going back to taking care of your body. So how do you even take care of your body, especially now you're in Double A, but when you first started, first year, how were you able to take care of your body if the meals were not the greatest?
yeah, it was tough. I mean, actually that first year I got injured. I had a shoulder impingement, and that was like, luckily it wasn't that serious of an injury where it really taught me like, okay, I really need to take this serious, taking care of my body, because I was just coming off a college season and playing in college, whereas like I didn't make that my priority. I just would kind of roll out of bed and play. But
Right. Just eat whatever.
yeah. So
Right.
that was a good thing. I learned that in my first year, just kind of like learning how important it is to get sleep and proper nutrition, because it all adds up, and eventually your body can only take so much. So
Yeah, especially a catcher. That's such a demanding position.
yeah.
So you have to really stay on top of it. Now, so just kind of curious what what you would recommend in this case. So how would you tell a college kid to take care of his body? Like when do you think they need to start taking care of their body?
I think as soon as you can.
Yeah.
When I do lessons with kids, I'll work with kids that are like 7 years old, and I'll tell them like, hey, like it's never too early to start taking care of your body. I know for me, in high school, I'd always ice my knees, but I think whatever you have the access to, whether it's like a hot tub or like an ice bath or now I have like a whole kit of stuff. I have like a back massager. I have these like Normatec leg boot things that I don't know if you've seen them where they like compress your legs.
Yes,
Yeah,
I've seen it. That's yeah.
I've got those. I've got like a whole cupping kit.
Yeah.
Um, and then obviously our training, spending time in the training room is really important. So I would just say, like everyone's different too. Like, and then getting on like an arm care routine too, where you're taking care of your shoulders and your arm because as a catcher you're throwing a lot too. So, um,
So that was gonna be my next question because I know, obviously the more games you play, the more you're gonna have to take care of your arm. But I know a
yeah,
lot of younger kids they take it for granted and they don't think it's important. I'm speaking from my own experience because I
hmm
knew like when especially my freshman year in college, I didn't have a band routine or anything like that, so I just went out there and went full speed and
yeah,
my shoulders
I
never
was
been
the
the
same
same.
way. Yeah.
So what's your routine like when it comes to taking care of your arm?
Well, I'll do like a bunch of bands. I'll do arm care every day,
Mm-hmm.
or at least like 6 times a week. But I try to do it as much as I throw. So like as much as I throw and the energy that I use throwing wise, I try to like do that same thing as like taking care of my arm and doing my arm care.
Mm-hmm.
And even now, like during the off season, I'll do it like incorporate into my lifts and like my whole warm up routine before I even start lifting is takes about like 45 minutes to an hour. Just kind of getting my body ready, use like mobility stuff, and just warming up, doing all my arm care. Takes about an hour. So, and as you get older too, your body's gonna break down even more. So I think it's important to even emphasize this aspect
Right.
of the game even more. So
So what do you do when it comes to throwing? Do you do any type of throwing routine like besides the bands? Do you do any type of lawn toss or?
yeah. So during the season, I'm throwing a lot where I try to like minimize my throws. Usually once a week, I'll try to play some long toss and like throw to bases just to kind of keep my arm fresh in that aspect. But during the off season, actually this off season, I've been on a program. One thing I want to do this off season is strengthen my arm. That's probably because it's one of my weakest tools right now. But I've been doing like a drive line type of program. I've been throwing weighted balls, warming up, and then play long toss twice a week with some pull downs, and then it's a total of 5 days a week of playing catch. So it's as much like I'm planning for my days off. Like every other day is a day off, or every 2 days. So I'll go Monday, Tuesday throw, Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday throw, and then the weekend off.
Okay.
And I think it's important. Like if you're gonna put that much strain on your arm, you need to plan for like days off and recovery too.
Right.
So
That's a good point because a lot of kids they don't take in consideration, like the planning. You have to kind of
yeah,
plan it out. You can't just go out there and just chunk it out there and just hope for the best and think that you're gonna get stronger.
yeah,
Especially trying to stay healthy at the same time. So
hmm
I think that's the older they get, that's pretty important.
yeah.
Now, so what's the big difference? What was the big difference between college and now in Double A when it comes to catching? This obviously these guys are throwing a lot harder.
hmm
But what's the biggest difference when it comes to catching these guys compared to when you were in college?
I would just say the biggest difference. I mean, luckily I went to Fullerton, and like Fullerton's usually known for pitching, and we had a really good staff when I was there, so it made my job really easy in college. But one thing I've learned getting into pro ball and now where I'm at Double A, it's I never got to call my own game in college. It was always from the pitching coach, and so just learning how to like read a scouting report, learn how to pitch certain hitters, and ultimately knowing your pitcher. I feel like that's the biggest thing as far as calling a game is knowing the strengths of your pitcher on the mound and calling the game based off that. And for me, it's like I would rather I don't want to ever give into a hitter, and I want to attack him with the pitcher's strengths, even if it lines up to if this guy's a good fastball hitter and the pitcher on the mound's got a plus fastball. I'm going to play to his strengths and live by that. So that's probably the biggest thing, the biggest learning curve that I've had to deal with over the last couple years in pro ball is just like learning how to read a scouting report and take like a plan into the game with each pitcher. So
Right. I'm glad you brought that up. Yes, that's a pretty good point. I coach younger kids, and once they get to that age where they're like 14th, sometimes I start them at 13, but once they get to 14U, like I let them call their games. Now, if I feel like it's just all over the place, then I
yeah,
take over. But I think that's a pretty good point. I mean, I'm sure you had a great pitching coach, and he called a great game. But sometimes I don't know what age do you recommend. Because in my opinion, as the younger, the better, so that they learn how to call the game. But what age would you recommend the kids starting to call their own game?
I think it kind of varies based off like the kid. I mean, I think they should start as early as they can, but I do think there's an aspect of coaches need to guide catchers, and catchers ultimately need to think along with coaches. So I don't think it's the bad thing if the pitching coach will call the game initially, but I think there needs to be conversations with the catcher about like sequencing or certain pitches to call in certain situations where the catcher isn't just looking for the sign and then calling it and not knowing why.
Right.
And I mean, I know I did that where I wasn't even, because it wasn't my job. I knew it was like, okay, it's not my job to call the pitches, so I'm just gonna trust him. So I think that's the biggest thing. And depending on if it's a real mature kid who gets it, I think you just let him do it, and that's the best way of learning. I feel like.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you said that, because also I think it's important to have a conversation with your player, because it's not only just putting fingers down. You got to be able to know why, and kind of like the sequence that you're talking about. I'm glad you said that. That's pretty good. So now, when it comes to facing pitcher, offensively, so what's the biggest difference?
From college?
Yes.
Yeah, I think. I mean, obviously, velocity has gotten crazy. So,
Yeah.
in college, it was like most guys would be right around 90. Like a good fastball would be 94, 95 in college. But now it's like every pitcher is throwing 95 plus, where if you see a guy that's throwing 92 to 94, that's like pretty good hitting speed now, I feel like, where it's just getting ready and getting on time for that fastball. Just because every pitcher is throwing so hard and they have such good stuff. And every team has like at least two guys that throw 100 miles an hour plus. So it's just getting ready, being on time, and not missing that pitch. Just because the pitchers are too good for you to make any mistakes. You got to take advantage of that one pitch you get in at bat. So
Right. Do you normally go looking for a pitch, or you just kind of?
yeah, like for me, I'm always like as a catcher though, I try to overthink things sometimes, and so like when I'm behind the plate calling the game, I try to think along with my pitcher. I try to be like as smart as I can behind the plate. But then when I'm hitting, I try to make myself like as dumb as possible. I just want to be on a fastball and hit it, because sometimes I'll try to think along with the catcher, and every time I do that, it doesn't work out. So I'm always on the fastball, and just trying to drive it up the middle. So.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because I hear different things from different people. Some go for a specific zone, some go for a specific pitch, and so I was just kind of curious what your approach was. So what about the stuff? Does it get better, like pitching wise? Does it get better from rookie ball to Class A and then Double A?
I don't know if the stuff necessarily gets better, because there's guys in rookie ball that are throwing 100 also, and guys that have really good nasty stuff.
Right.
I just think the biggest difference is, in Double A and every level that you go up, the pitching, they just know how to pitch better. Like they can command all their pitches better. They can locate their off speeds for a strike and a hitter's count. They can throw a 2-0 curveball in there. They just know how to pitch you better. It's not necessarily like the stuff is crazy. I mean, it is, but
Right.
it's not a huge jump from the levels as far as like velocity and stuff. It's just kind of like these pitchers really know how to pitch.
Right.
So
And that's what I've heard before from a couple of different guys that they say, especially in rookie ball, you got a lot of guys that throw hard, but there's no telling where it's going.
exactly, yeah, yeah,
And then once they get up in levels, then they start to command their pitches better.
yeah.
Now, real quick, so let me. I know you got to go here in a few minutes. So, what would you recommend? Somebody in high school, if they got high hopes of playing professional baseball. Obviously, you went to college, but because some guys are ready to go pro right out of college. I mean,
Yeah.
high school, but some are not. So, what do you recommend somebody in high school is that's their dream. They want to play professional baseball.
Yeah, I would say everyone develops at like a different age. Some guys peak in little league, and some guys don't peak until they're 30 years old. And so I think it just comes down to working hard. And I've always, like, for me out of high school, I knew I wasn't not even close to be ready to play pro ball. Like, luckily I was able to go to Fullerton and play, but I feel like in those years at Fullerton I was able to get a lot better. And there's a lot of guys on my team right now that come from junior colleges or D3 programs, and if the ultimate goal is to play in the big leagues, like I said, everyone's developing at a different pace, and everyone grows and gets stronger at a different pace too. So, I think the whole stigma of like, oh, I have to play D1 to play in the big leagues, it all comes down to just working hard, and wherever you're at, and you're given the opportunity, just to, play with your best effort. So.
Right, definitely, because I think a lot of people get wrapped up in wanting to go. If you don't go D1, you're not going pro. But which obviously D1 is pretty awesome. But
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like some players are not ready yet. But just like you said, if you're going D3, you're going JUCO, like just make the best of it, and then just get after it.
Yeah. If you're good and people see that, you're always going to get an opportunity no matter where you're at.
Right.
So
right. That's a good point. Now I'm gonna wrap it up with this 4 fun questions here. I always ask everybody this.
Okay.
So I'm gonna put you on the spot, but don't want you to be, naming anybody.
Okay.
But so out of all the years you've played so far, it could be pro ball, it could be college, it could be little league or high school. What's the best team that you've ever been on, and why? You don't have to say names, but
the best team. I don't know. I mean, I would say this past year's team in AA, we were really good, and I really enjoyed this team. But I mean, in college, my freshman year team, we went to the College World Series, and that team was really talented, but we were also like a really close group, and I think that's important. Like this year, also I compare my team in AA this year to that team because we were also a very talented group, but we also played well together. We all liked playing with each other, and that's kind of rare in pro ball because it's like everyone's trying to advance themselves, and obviously I'm trying to do that too. I'm trying to play in the big leagues, but at the same time, like where I'm at in the minor leagues, like I'm still trying to win, and I'm trying to win with the guys that are on my team, and so I think that's one part of the minor leagues where it's kind of lost, where people just they don't really care about the wins and losses, but at the end of the day, like I'm going to play better if I'm on a winning team.
Right.
And so that should be the ultimate goal, is like trying to help your team win rather than, oh, how can I get to that next level?
Right. And I think it happens a lot like that too in showcase tournaments.
Yeah.
It gets pretty gritty too.
Yeah.
Now, what about the best player you've ever, had on a team?
That's a tough one. I mean,
Our best teammate, I guess.
Best teammate.
Yeah.
Man, that's tough. I mean, I've had a ton of good teammates. Yeah, that's a tough one right there. Honestly, okay, I would say in Spokane, this was 2021. I had a teammate. His name was AJ Lewis. He was also a catcher. And me and him were like the second and third guys. So we were both seeing minimal time behind the plate, but he's a guy that really pushed me, and he always had a really good attitude, and he didn't care what situation he was in. He was always one of the most positive guys in the clubhouse, and you always knew that he was doing fine, and he pushed me to work hard and continue to like develop, even though we weren't seeing the playing time that we wanted. And that's all you can really ask for a teammate, is just a guy that has your back and a guy that's gonna try to bring the best out of you. So
Right, that's pretty cool.
yeah.
What about your least favorite teammate?
Oh man, I don't know if I can say that one.
I mean, I don't want you to say a year or anything like that, but why would it be your least
Oh,
favorite?
okay. I mean, I would just say guys that I'm gonna talk about pitchers. So guys that just aren't appreciative of catchers, and like, because I know catchers do a lot of work, and our job pretty much directly correlates to the pitchers. Like, we're pretty much a servant to the pitchers, and so there's been a good amount of pitchers, or not a good amount, just like a select few, where I just feel like it's important just to be appreciative to the people that help you out, no matter where you're at, whether you're a pitcher, catcher, or infield, outfielder. I think if someone's taking the time to help get you better, like, you need to show your appreciation towards them. So
That's a good point. I like that. What about your favorite coach? Like somebody
Favorite
that's
coach?
been a big influence in your life. Again, you don't have to say names or years.
Yeah.
Just kind of tell me.
I would
Why?
I have a couple where in my high school coach, his name is actually Keith Johnson. He was probably my favorite coach. And he's a guy where I have a really close relationship to this day. And, he helped me a lot in high school, kind of get to Fullerton, but like throughout my whole baseball career, he's always been the first guy I call if I'm in a slump or if I'm struggling. Like, he's always, like, I know if something's going down, like, I'm going to call him. If I get called up to the big leagues, he's probably going to be one of the first guys I call too. So I would say he's probably the most influential coach that I've had.
No, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hopefully he'll get that call pretty soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, man, I really appreciate you for your time. Again, I know you got stuff to do here. And do you have any final advice for the younger kids out there that got aspirations to play pro ball?
I would just say keep working hard. I know, nothing's going to be handed to you. If you just put your head down and work hard, opportunities are going to present itself. And so I think that's the most important thing. And the hard work will eventually pay off, even if you don't see it paying off at that moment. I think you keep going, you keep grinding, and you're going to see the results eventually. So
awesome. Appreciate you, man. And if you guys are watching this on YouTube, please subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and remember, keep it Moy Style. Hey guys, Moy Style Baseball here. If you're interested in having me come out to your city for a fielding camp or a hitting camp, or if you're in the Oklahoma area and you're looking for private lessons or group lessons, you can shoot me a text at 251-509-3815. You can also email me at moystyle33@gmail.com. Keep it Moy Style.